Hey everybody, Gunnison Undercover. Today is Thursday, December 13th, 2018, and it's a cloudy day here in New Jersey. So there's a little story that came up here on app.com. Let me put the glasses on so I can read it. And there it is right there. It says, NJ police views, we fixed some problems, but more cops charged, more millions spent. Yep. New Jersey policing safer after protecting the shield, but more changes needed. Well, let's read what this story has to say, and I'm going to make some comments on this. Beatings, frauds, cover-ups. 18 New Jersey cops were charged, convicted, or sentenced in federal court this year on accusations they broke the laws they swore to uphold. One rogue Patterson cop, Ruben McGoslin, 26, pleaded guilty to dealing narcotics he stole from a crime scene while on duty and in uniform. In a separate incident, McGoslin admitted he beat a suicidal hospital patient while a fellow officer recorded a video. That accomplice later deleted the video and pleaded guilty to concealing the crime. McGoslin's crimes and the criminal charges against the other officers show the need for federal intervention when the state can't control bad cops. As an investigation by the Asbury Park Press and USA Today Network, New Jersey exposed in January, bad cops can remain on local police forces for years because of weak oversight and government penchant to cover up mayhem with money. Settlements which have cost taxpayers more than $60 million since 2010. $60 million in New Jersey. The network's Protecting the Shield series exposed the government's secret protection system for bad cops and sparked immediate reforms. There is also a movement in legislature to pass tougher laws to weed out violent cops before they harm or kill. We need transparency and accountability, and I believe New Jersey is making strides towards that, said State Majority Leader Loretta Weinberg, Democrat in Bergen. News reports like yours have been very helpful in getting us there. After the Shield was published in January, the state moved to root out drug-abusing cops and set up procedures to identify officers who could pose problems to the public, such as those with too many excessive force complaints. Well, let me stop right there, because it's a little bit lengthy thing here. You know who's exposed to all this bullshit? It's, I'm not going to take any credit away from the APP and NJ.com and the other people who have done it, but really it's people like me, people like anybody with a phone or a camera that records bad cop behavior. That's who's responsible for exposing all this, the camera. And anybody that has a camera and records these crooked cops is responsible for it. But even though we record them, we report on it, I report on it. I've exposed bad cops. I've dealt with a few of them. One up in Woodbridge, to be exact. And I made a complaint. You know what happened to that complaint? Nothing. I had the guy on video unlawfully searching me for ID to try to identify who I was. And I was never arrested or charged with anything. Nothing happens. This is a system that protects itself. Now, I was talking to a retired officer from a large town in Middlesex County. He's been off the force 5 years now. He was a detective. He was a road cop. He worked his way up. And he told me some of the crap that goes on. And he just echoes what I say. What many people say is that a good cop has to keep his mouth shut if he wants to have long-term employment. And he saw stuff going on, and it starts up at the top of the head, the neck, the head of the snake. And he's seen the stuff that goes on. And, it's like, he didn't like it, but he got a choice. They got to choose between paying the bills. I mean, most of them could buy a house, got a family going on. You got to make that decision. Do I just keep my mouth shut, and the only time I'll say anything if it's something really bad, then I'll say something. And I asked him, had you ever lied on a report? And he says, twice I lied on a report. I said, how'd you feel about it? He says, I didn't like it. I said, well, you're lying on the report. Did that cause somebody to go to jail? He goes, absolutely not. He says, I would never do that. I lied on the report to keep a fellow officer from getting in trouble. You see? Now, this is twice that he did it, and he told me some other stories where maybe he didn't write a report, but he covered for another cop because that cop was going to get fired, and so they just repaint, they redo the narrative. And this is what goes on, and it's unfortunate that the bad ones don't get weeded out. They get protected, the so-called good ones out there, and I don't really think there's absolutely any angels out there. They protect one another, and they do it to protect themselves, I think. And they lie. And like now, this guy that I talked to, I spent a couple hours with him. So we were together for a while talking. And I feel he was being open with me. He had no reason not to be. And it's just a system. They've got to protect one another, and the only time they don't protect is when their pension is in jeopardy. But he told me on his last few months before he retired, life at work was hell because he had gone against the chief, and they made life hell for him. They cut you back, they put you on a bad shift, they give you crappy hours, and this is what goes on. And the only way you're going to maybe change, because I asked him, is there a way to change this? And he just said, he really just kind of shrugged his shoulders at me, but I think he agreed with me. And I said, really, you have to hold the chief accountable, because like any job that you have, you start a new job, and after a few weeks, few days, you know what you can do and what you can get away with, where you can slack, where you can't slack. And I think that's the same thing with being a police officer. You get to learn what you can get away with. And that pretty much seems like what it is, that the chief of police sets the tone. And I did, just not to get off the subject, off track, but I did ask him, I says, did you ever see another officer abuse somebody? He goes, yes. He says, I don't like that. I don't like when somebody's in handcuffs and they're hitting him. I said, what'd you do? He says, I told him to knock it off. Now, he had a little rank, I'm assuming, at that time. And he and I both agreed that it really is a pussy who does, a pussy cop that's going to hit somebody that's in handcuffs, got their hands behind. But, he's the one guy that says, hey, don't do that. How many cops stand there and say, hey, yeah, whack him upside his head while nobody's looking? But that's what goes on. And the only way you're ever going to change it, in my opinion, is you got to hold these chief of police accountable for any corruption goes on in town. And there's a particular town in Middlesex County, I'm not going to talk about which town it is, that's it's corrupt to no end. It's been in the news. There's several officers being indicted and going to jail, prison. And inside sources tell me that the chief of police is corrupt. And everybody in ranking that has a rank is corrupt. Because they kiss the chief's ass. Or they go down on him, give him a special favor in the office under the desk. And that's how they're all getting promoted. And so these people who have been promoted by the chief, they're buddies with him. They're going to protect him. So you see what goes on. And I don't know. They've got a long ways to go to clean up the police in this country, or in New Jersey at least. I still hold hope that there are some good officers out there. I've met a few of them. They seem like, for an officer, they seem like decent people. They're just caught in the middle of making these tough decisions. And been around with retired cops, and I've asked them questions. They don't know who I am or why or what I do, but I asked them some questions, and none of them's ever told me they were a bad cop. They always come off like a good cop, but. Then also one thing, I asked that guy I was talking to yesterday, I says, did you feel uncomfortable about some of the things they had you do? He goes, yeah, I didn't like some of the things they had me do. But I had to do it. I says, yeah. I said, it's all about generating money and getting those numbers up so the chief looks good when the end of the year report comes out. So anyway, I'll put the link to this story on in the description box. And let me know what you think about how we're going to clean up the corruption in this state with these police departments. And the corruption really is in the bigger police departments, I think. That's where it's really out of control. But I think there's problems in all police departments. I talked to one police officer, and he said there was some shenanigans at the higher level. And, what can you do? Because the higher level's related. They're related to each other. So that's a big problem when you got family members on the force. Never mind just friends. So, all right, let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to New Jersey Exposed, the backup channel for Gunnison Undercover. Gunnison Undercover Facebook is alive and well. And you can always email me at gunnisonundercover@gmail.com. I do read all my mail, and I do read my comments that are left. Okay, till next time, be well, be safe, and always watch the police. Don't trust them. Trust but verify.